Hello, everybody. How you doing? I hope you're having a great summer. Because today, since it's nearly a week out from the event, I will rank my top 30 SummerSlam matches. Some of them might not just be because of the match, but also be because of the moment they led up to, or the moment that basically went afterwards, or basically succeeded. So, number one. So basically, there's a lot of, in this case, a lot of matches that can be remembered. I can already talk to you what will be my honorable mentions. In terms of my honorable mentions, we have, in this case, let me write it down. So yeah, okay. In terms of honorable mentions, there would be the Boiler Room Brawl with Undertaker Mankind. Was good, but sometimes when you watch it now, it's like apart from the ending, I felt a bit bored. Plus, it was in the Gund Arena, so maybe it would have been better in an area that actually, made some noise, but because hearing nothing but silence did not help. Uh, Virgil versus Ted DiBiase. That was a great match, but it did not fit in my list. What else? Bret Hart versus Doink the Clown. That's the that's a spoiler, but it's one of the only Bret Hart matches that's not on the top 30, as well as the Hart Foundation for the Brain Busters. What else? What else? Uh, the U.S. title match between Eddie Guerrero, Rhino, Tajiri, and someone else at SummerSlam 2003. Um, Looking at this, just looking at the list there, it's uh the Hell in a Cell match with Undertaker and Edge is gonna be not gonna be on there. And yeah, those are my honorable mentions. Now, number 30, it'll be Brock Lesnar versus Roman Reigns, last man standing at SummerSlam 2022. That's very good. In fact, I thought it was surprising it took how many years for them to actually get it right in terms of Brock Lesnar. It took them many, many years, many, many tries to uh, actually understand what should be Brock Lesnar Roman Reigns match. It was it was action packed. It wasn't letting up. The fail Austin Theory cash in this case, but I felt like it was very entertaining. Something you can go back to watch too. 29 from SummerSlam 992. Shawn Michaels, Rick Martel in the Don't Hit Yourself in the Face match. That was hilarious to me. That was a match basically that's so underrated because of another match that we'll talk about later, spoiler, that's on the list. But Shawn Michaels with Rick Martel was hilarious. It's basically a match in which both Shawn and Rick Martel had to structure in which they had to use moves that did not impact the face. So it's both funny, but it's very, very well done. And I know it's double count on the finish is double count on spoiler, but I felt it fit well with both characters, and none of them lost any steam because of it. But that was funny. It was the first instance of a heartbreaking Shawn Michaels face turn in that event because it was cheer, it was basically treated, it was a close thing to a face in that match. And Sherry receiving a bucket of water by the end was hilarious. So yeah, that's number 29. 28 from 2000, SummerSlam 1999, sorry, is Test versus Shane McMahon in Lover or Lever match. This had no business being such a great match. I think it was a Greenwich street fight. I mean, Test, in which I think it's one of his best matches ever. And I still maintain he still was one of the most underrated wrestlers of all time, as well as the best big boot there's ever been. As a matter of fact, I felt he's a guy who protected the big boot, and I thought his running big boot, it was more than credible as a finisher. So here's a guy who I know he's been Intercontinental Champion, Hardcore Champion, European Champion, and tag team champion. I could have seen as a world champion. Maybe not WWE champion, but world champion. I could have seen them. And it's a shame they've never been there. I love everything with Tess. Shane McMahon threw caution to the wind. The Stooges and Mean Street Posse brawling out. I thought that was adding. There was a bit of hilarity in that match. So, but it was very very fun. That's number 28. 27 is going to be John Cena defending against Brock Lesnar for SummerSlam 2014. That was pretty much a squash match, but was an entertaining pay-per-view squash match. Number 26. It's a tie, and I put it both together because I don't want recency bias. I always get on my nerves when people say something, this movie is the best of all time, when it's just been released a week ago. Like, you need time to let it sink in and for this to climb the ladder in terms of best ones. So it'll be from 2025 this year, the two world title match will be WWE title match Cena versus Cody, which gave me to me the impression of nearly Hogan versus Warrior mixed with some Hogan versus Rock feeling. As in, Cena was the heel up until 1 or 2 days beforehand. Then he turns back face, and it felt like it was Super Cena versus Super Cody. And it felt very much like this is what a WrestleMania match should have been between the two. It was exciting, many finishers kick out, and this is a time to do so. I feel like if you're gonna have people, plenty of people kick out of many finishers, make sure both of them are like basically Super Cena, Super Cody, where it's top babyface against top babyface. If not, that doesn't make sense. If it's heel can kick out of one finisher, but not seven. If you want to make it suspenseful, sorry. How about having people keep countering the move, keep countering the move, keep countering the move, but when the move is it's over. I remember Jake Roberts, like sometimes he would basically make sure that the opponent would counter the DDT, but the moment the DDT was hit, it's over. Why can't people do that? You want to bring credibility back to finishers? That's what you should do. Not every match should have 17 finishers to win. Take that, AEW. Amateurish entitled wrestling, or nearly almost entertaining wrestling in this case. So yeah, and yeah, Cody won back his title at SummerSlam 2025, and I thought it was very well done, as well as CM Punk versus Gunter. I love how it was booked, the match with Gunter. It's Gunter is pretty much nearly destroying CM Punk until he made a false move. His nose was really busted open. CM Punk smelled blood, hit his finishers. It's basically the jumping knee in the corner, bulldog, top rope elbow. Gunter had one last scare, like a horror movie villain. He had one last scare and try and get the sleeper, but was too weakened because of blood loss. So it led up to the two GTS and Punk won. And of course, Rollins cashed in afterwards. I thought both of the main events of the two nights of SummerSlam were damn good. It's a shame that the event did not follow suit, though. It's basically those two main events saved each other's night. Now, that's for number 26. 25 from SummerSlam 2021, Edge versus Seth Rollins. It was great, the entrance from Edge as Brood Edge. And I thought sometimes he overused that entrance. It should have been used sparingly to use the Brood Edge, especially knowing that in the story, Edge did not want to join the Brood in the first place. Just like for Rey Mysterio and the LWO. It's like a revisionist story in this case, and the character didn't want to join the Brood. He joined the Brood because of his brother back then, Christian, in 998. And they broke away from the Brood anyway, like 8 months later. It's like basically like I love the Brood, but it's more Christian and Gangrel. Edge was added on because he wanted to protect in the storylines 998 his brother Christian. So I don't mind anyway. I don't mind the entrance, but the match was better than expected. And for SummerSlam 2021, which I thought was lacking, there was a great match between this and yeah, that was the last last hurrah for Edge at SummerSlam. So that's good for number 25. Number 24, I have as a tie again. The only match from 2020, it'd be Asuka against Sasha Banks for the women's title. Man, Asuka is both celebrated, heralded, and underrated despite all of that. I felt like Asuka should have at least gotten one title win at a WrestleMania. I should have won the SmackDown Women's title against Charlotte Flair at WrestleMania 34. She didn't get to do it. The closest thing to me to a big time, big moment for Asuka on the main roster was at SummerSlam 2020 when she submitted Sasha Banks to win the women's title. That to me was very important. And it was a very good match from an event that is not rewatchable. And also, tied for this spot was Becky Lynch versus Bianca Belair for the women's title at SummerSlam 2022, which I felt was Bianca Belair at her best, beating a motivated Becky Lynch. Like I felt like Becky Lynch tried her best in this case to make sure that Bianca Belair stays a star, and it I don't know. If you watch the match, you can see why it's very, very good. So that'd be number here. We're 24. 23. Sorry. Just want to say for 23. Okay, so I was wondering what I wrote. Oh yeah, for number 23, for the IC title, it'd be Seth Rollins against Dolph Ziggler at SummerSlam 2018. To me, was the only match really worth rewatching. I mean, I'm not a great fan of Dolph Ziggler, but when Ziggler wants to, he can make a match that's not just about trying to oversell. He makes it work uh, depending on the context. Seth Rollins in this case was game, and I like the fact that Seth Rollins brought back Dean Ambrose and Dolph Ziggler had Drew McIntyre in his corner. So that's very good. That, like I said, that's the only thing that would be worth watching from 2018. Also, no spoiler, I feel like a lot of SummerSlams in the last few years, in the last 10 years, lost their luster. They're not as impactful as the first 20 SummerSlam. So, yeah. Okay, that's number in this case. Now, number 20, sorry, number 22 was from 1998. It'll be Stone Cold Steve Austin defending the WWE title against Undertaker. I know Austin doesn't really like the match, but I felt like it was it's basically the post injury Stone Cold Steve Austin, a more brawling type against Undertaker. It was a brawl for the age. The AC/DC video montage for the main event in weeks prior to this really built up the main event as something big, something epic, and it was. Was it the best match ever? No, but I was very much entertained by this match. It was very high action. The Undertaker top rope leg drop to the outside was very good, and I thought it was well placed. Now everybody and their brothers like to do suicide dives to the outside, super kicks, Canadian Destroyer, spears, which basically I just see as most of Jey Uso's moveset. So yeah, okay. And you see me roll my eyes because it's like I like, uniqueness. I mean, I don't mind having some transition moves to be used from time to time, but a person's trademark moves and signature moves should be unique to them. Super kicks should be unique to at least one person. I mean, if it's going to be Jey Uso using them, fine, but it should be just Jey Uso. The spear should be just Braun or Roman Reigns. Kenny Destroyer should be Pentas. And I think suicide dives to the outside, topical needles, should be monitored. Not everybody needs to do this in not every match. I mean, the reason why it worked for WWE worked because they kept the cruiserweight action to cruiserweights. If everybody wrestled like the cruiserweights, it wouldn't be as fun. So, but again, we were at in this case, don't want to lose myself. What Austin versus Taker, that was very well done. Like I said, okay. And I like that Austin kind of cheated, but kind of didn't to win the match. He hit a low blow, but besides that, it was pretty much a clean win for Steve Austin at SummerSlam. And despite all the theatrical angle in the weeks prior to this, like with Kane, Mr. McMahon, nobody interfered in the match. It was one-on-one, ending up with Austin pinning The Undertaker. It's like one of the rare semi-clean Undertaker loss you have. So I consider it's clean in this case. Anyway, December 22. Number 21 from SummerSlam 1990 is Demolition defending the World Tag Titles against the Art Foundation in 2 out of 3 matches. 2 out of 3 falls, sorry. I like this match because it both serve as a Legion of Doom introduction, but it also as a swan song to Demolition. I love Demolition. If I ever do a top 30 tag teams of all time, I'm telling you it's in the top 5. I don't care if it's like for 2, 3 years. The 2, 3 years that were impactful. They're the only guy. I think they're the only tag team that won the World Tag Team title matches at 3 consecutive WrestleManias, 4, 5, and 6. I mean, people can say the New Day or Usos broke the demolition streak. No, they didn't. They did it with the WWE tag titles or the SmackDown tag titles with the Usos. They never did it with the actual original World Tag titles. And demolition effectively should be in the Hall of Fame. Now, going back to the match, I didn't like that basically they took out the kick-ass demolition team from Rick the Ranger and just replaced it with a Nightmare on Elm Street team, which is good. It's not a bad team, but doesn't fit demolition. It's like everything that was screamed badass about demolition, the moment it's changed team, they weren't badasses anymore. They were just a mid-card tag team. So, yeah, there was Smash, X, and Crush, and I like how the match was booked. The first fall, Demolition got the finisher on Brett, pinned them. Second fall, the Art Foundation hit their finisher on Smash and got a pinfall. The last fall, this is where all hell broke loose. Axe tried to interfere, but the debuting Legion of Doom came on to make sure that there wasn't going to be chicanery for the title. So Bret Hart pinned Crush via roll up to win the titles. And this is something that was basically very like this is where it started to me, this claim of Bret Hart being Mr. SummerSlam. And not just in terms of match, I'll say it later on why I think it might be Mr. SummerSlam, but he, as a tag team or in singles, could make sure the match really, really was good. Like even his match that aren't that good, like versus Isaac Yankem or Doink, whereas as good, they're very good still for SummerSlam matches. People could, could understand if he tried to, we would basically phone it in, but he never phoned in at SummerSlam, I believe. Yeah, same as Shawn Michaels. That to me is very, very important for a match being good, and it didn't try to basically. I feel like Bret Hart was always not just respectful of his opponent, but respectful of the moveset of everybody else. He didn't try to take everybody else's moves. He tried to use his moves. He made himself more unique compared to others. So that worked on this one. And number 20. Number 20 is from 2017. It's a Universal title match between Brock Lesnar defending against Braun Strowman, Samoa Joe, and Roman Reigns. That was a great match. That was what a big man match should be. The only disappointing thing to me is Lesnar kept the title. Strowman should have won. Everybody knows I'm a big Braun Strowman fan, but it's like, how many chances do you have of giving him the world title? And you didn't. You waited later on to give it to him. And even then, you should have been at least WWE champion and Universal champion at one point. I mean, it was super over. And WWE, one of the few stars that I felt like was really brought a book right for a long time in years in WWE where not everything was watchable. Braun Strowman's ascension to being a certified badass in the main event to me was, and then they screwed up. Yeah, he won the title, but he won it way later, and he wasn't as fierce, as ferocious of a baby face as he used to be. Okay? It's be like giving Goldberg the world title after he lost a streak or lost several matches, and then hey, your first time world champion is after the streak. It's stupid. It's stupid. But anyway, that's for number 20. 19 from 1997, Shawn Michaels with Vader. Yes, that match. Maybe I'm biased because I went to a live event and basically I saw Shawn Michaels versus Vader, and it was a very good match. Shawn won back then at the live event with a body slam. He body slammed Vader. He did the elbow. He did the sweet chin music, one, two, three. In this match, he kicked out the powerbomb, true, but Vader kicked out the sweet chin music as well. I just thought the one thing I didn't like about that match is not just the restarting, is that Shawn often used the top rope elbow in that match. Like, okay, you don't have to overuse it. Um, but I like the fact that Vader, in a way, was protected that he lost. First of all, kept demanding another match, restarting the match. And Vader at the match won. I mean, I'm not even sure if Shawn kicked out. Yeah, Shawn also kicked out of a Vader bomb, a power bomb. He kicked out of both things. So Vader, rather than trying another Vader bomb, he tries to do a Vader salt. That does him in. And then Shawn Michaels used a moonsault result to a standing Vader to pin him one, two, three. Vader wasn't hurt by this. He was surprised by this. So even the finish protected Vader. Now afterwards, I don't know what happened, but until then, I felt like even the finish protected him. But I thought it was a pretty good match that's understated or basically not as welcome because of the politics beyond the match. So that's something. Number 18, for the IC title, you have Rock versus defended against Triple H in ladder match in 1998. I really love that match. I remember it for several reasons. First of all, it's when Rock debuted that New Nation theme, which is to me one of the best team songs ever. It's the best Rock team song there's been. Beside maybe his Hollywood version of his team. But apart from that, the Nation version of the Rock's team was my favorite Rock team song. And I must be honest, at the time when it was the Nations Triple versus DX, I always took for the Nation. I mean, Owen joined the Nation, made sure I was already on the Nation side, but Owen joined the Nation, made me even more implicated. Say they're kind of good guys. Owen never got his true revenge. DX were a bunch of yeah, they were a bunch of douches, and yeah, they never changed. They never, I wouldn't say softened their attitude, but they never like, okay, cool, but you were a douche anyway. No, they acted like douche the whole way. Triple H acted like Jake Busy, or looked like them, the son of Gary Busy, and yeah, and Triple H I thought was one of the most unlikable babyface ever. I mean, here's a guy who, even as a face, needed China to basically win the match for him. And he hid behind her, even as a face. Very unsympathetic. So, even in this match, Rock had it won until China interfered. But I get it, looking back, it's like, okay, Rock was ascending, he needed the BB title, he had to drop the IC title. But the whole match was good. So, that's for that's number 18. Number 17, hilariously enough, or ironically enough, here's another ladder match at SummerSlam. It's for the hardcore title, the only hardcore hardcore title match that's disputing the ladder with a ladder at SummerSlam. It's Jeff Hardy defending against Rob Van Dam. The invasion angle sucked, point blank. However, one guy who benefited from all this and actually got really over during this is Rob Van Dam. A guy who was supposed to be heel, but every time he's everywhere, was cheered as if he was the ultimate warrior, and basically, and The Rock combined. You think I'm exaggerating? I've been in live events where everybody chanted RVD for nearly 3 hours long. In 2001, the guy was really over. Even 2002, and I felt like maybe not 2001, but at least 2002, they should have given him the world title. Like give him the IC title at WrestleMania 18, that's good. But some around the summer of 2002, he should have been a world champion. Point blank, not Triple H. Triple H could have won it back later. Could have done a Ric Flair, lost it to him, and gained back. But anyway, Jeff Hardy versus Rob Van Dam was very good. A lot of action packed, a lot of high flying drama, and Rob Van Dam won the title. The following year, I know he won the IC title at SummerSlam, but I felt like that's the best RVD match, in my opinion. That's for number 17. But we're going from one ladder match to another one. Spot 16 is the World Tag Title match defending a TLC at SummerSlam 2000. SummerSlam 2000 was a very good SummerSlam. It had very good matches. But to me, the one that takes the cake is the TLC match, in which case you saw Edge, Christian, the Dudleys, Hardys, the Dudleys, the 3D, too many people, Hardys again with their high flying daredevil ways, but Edge, Christian again prevailed over Hardys and Dudleys. That's a match that actually I've seen the Hardys winning tag titles there and there, then and there. Because Edge and Christian always won their match against the Hardys and Dudleys. So you could have basically switched it up there. But at the same time, I'm not exactly mad that they didn't. It's okay, it's understandable, but I felt like it could have been a bit of variety. That's for its sub 16. Number 15, with one of the competitors in the TLC's coming back, it'd be Christian. When Christian defended the world title against Randy Orton at SummerSlam 2011. That to me was my favorite match of the card because CM Punk versus John Cena wasn't as good as their Money in the Bank match. And it led to Alberto Del Rio winning the world title, the WB title. How to kill the crowd and how to kill the CM Punk return angle in one swoop. That's all I'm going to say. Getting back to Christian and Orton. This was an angle, at which case in another video I said that I understand why Christian turned heel. Because I thought it was unfair for his character after a grueling, excruciating TLC match. He has to defend the title in the very next show. And he loses to Randy Orton. But if it was Randy Orton was a TLC match, he wouldn't basically be forced into a title match the very next time. So I could understand that. But the way he won back the world title at Money in the Bank 2011, he won it back by DQ, which says a lot about how WWE viewed Christian. They saw him as a great world title contender, but as a great world title contender, not a champion, not a great world champion. Because he had one title, his only world title win and reign as a face was like, what, 5 days? And his second reign was a month, where he lost the title and basically lost the title and cleanly to Randy Orton. So basically, it's a month plus 1 week as world champion total. Yeah, he was ECW champion, but it's basically ECW championship back then was basically a step above the US title and a step below the IC title. So yeah, it was basically a newfound European championship. Could have been European Championship wrestling at this point. But yeah, I felt like Christian was underrated, and this match is very good and underrated as well. So that's for number 15. Number 14, we go back to the very first SummerSlam, 1988, with Bulldogs versus the Rougeaus. The Fabulous Rougeaus were a great tag team, were hilarious. The theme song's hilarious. Like calling themselves fabulous for no reasons and basically saying, oh, they're all American boys. Why haven't they been World Tag Team Champions? That's also a crime. They should have been World Tag Team Champions. And with the Mouth of the South, Jimmy Hart. So all this is hilarious. But Bulldog vs. Rougeau was a great match. Knowing the real life animosity behind them, I can understand why some spot might have been more snug. I love the match. I know it's a time limit draw, but I think we need more time limit draw, especially in WWE. Like establish that again. You have a cop out of an ending if you don't want to beat somebody. In fact, I know it's not WWE, but Sting got over as a main eventer by having a timely draw with Ric Flair. Why can't you do that kind of angle again? Like, or you use this as is there 1 minute left? Like that's how you reestablish somebody right from the get-go. But anyway, Bulldog versus Rougeos, I love the match. Even if there's no definitive ending, it doesn't matter. It didn't need to. It was very good. So that's number 14. Number 13, Hulk Hogan versus Shawn Michaels at SummerSlam 2005. Yes, the overselling is hilarious. Yes, I feel like Shawn Michaels probably was not in the right state of mind when he said this. As in right state of mind, I mean, basically, he didn't want a job and he wanted somebody to actually be put over. And yes, it did not work for him, brother. But Hulk Hogan versus Shawn Michaels, I mean, I could see that Shawn Michaels had to be a bit more of a heel because Hogan, even at the time, was heavier than him, was much more muscular than him, so it made sense there. And even to a certain point, I thought even then, Hogan still tried to still made Shawn Michaels be a viable threat. Sure, kicked out the sweet chin music, but again, knowing Hulk Hogan's character, it makes sense. I'm still laughing how Shawn sold shoves, punch, or the big boot. I'm surprised he didn't do a backflip for the big boot. I'm surprised nobody thought it would be a great idea and then basically do a backflip when he gets a leg drop. It's like, just imagine somebody like Hogan's like overselling much better. Like, it's like getting your revenge, but nobody really noticing. Like, you don't like basically no sell. You actually, okay, to uninitiated eyes, you're making Hogan more of a threat. But maybe the guys in the backstage area, you actually make a mockery of the match. I don't know. It's genius. Well, it's brilliant what Shawn did there. So, but yeah, that's very much my number 13 match. Number 12, best SummerSlam matches. SummerSlam 2016, John Cena versus AJ Styles, the face of WWE versus the face of what was TNA. And this is where I felt like AJ Styles found his groove. He's already talented, but it's like WWE had a great idea of, hey, let's have Chris Jericho win against AJ Styles at WrestleMania 32. Chris Jericho barely wins at WrestleMania. Let's have him win against AJ Styles there. And it's like, okay, it's your first WrestleMania. You don't have a first WrestleMania. You have another WrestleMania, but never have another first WrestleMania. His first WrestleMania included AJ Styles losing against Chris Jericho. When the next day he won against Chris Jericho in a four-way match to be contender to Roman Reigns. Couldn't have AJ Styles beat Chris Jericho on both nights? I mean, it's not like basically AJ Styles is known to be a problematic employee. He's very good. He's very solid, and it's like he must have done something because hey, you know what? The same year that he's debuted, he became WWE champion, and he comes from another company, and we know how Vince McMahon felt about that. So to me, that's why I love that match, and John Cena had no problem losing to AJ Styles at SummerSlam. It's like it's great. I remember he also lost to AJ Styles Money in the Bank 2016, but there wasn't there controversy. This one in SummerSlam 2016, there was no controversy, which allowed for a rematch at Royal Rumble 2017, which made for a great story. I love that match. It's like one of my most recent matches on that list. I think it's of the most recent SummerSlams. This is my favorite matches of the last 10 SummerSlams. So to me, that says something because I feel like a lot of SummerSlam matches have lost their luster. So yeah, that's what it is. Okay, now number 11 is the TLC match from SummerSlam 2009 between Jeff Hardy defending the world title against CM Punk. I was surprised that it was the main event, but honestly, it was the right call. And CM Punk finally became a heel, after a Night of Champion where he lost the world title back to to Jeff Hardy after 2 months prior cashing on Jeff Hardy. And his character of CM Punk had great. I felt like it was a great thing to build a CM Punk character because his character was right. He cashed in on Edge, nobody complained. He cashed in on Jeff Hardy, everybody complains. He did the same behavior, and when you win Money in the Bank, you're entitled to cash it on at any time you want to. I hope His character would say the same thing about Seth Rollins right now, cashing on him at SummerSlam 2025 because he did the same thing. So, yeah, I love that match. I love that CM Punk won, and it was practically the last great hurrah for many, many years in WWE for Jeff Hardy. We left like at the SmackDown afterwards. So, yeah, that's number 11. Now we go in the top 10. Number 10, from 1989, Ravish and Rick Rude defending the IC title versus the Ultimate Warrior. And I'm also going to put this at a tie as the moment. The Ultimate Warrior dethroning the Honky Tonk Man for his first IC title. People can call about Gunter's long reign, basically was defending. And as much as really like Gunter as a wrestler, I don't think he gets as much hate as the Honky Tonk Man did. Like people can say, "Oh, but Gunter is a good heel," but people, even company, even the fans, kind of respect him. Honky Tonk Man was portrayed the character as a guy who couldn't win a match on his own to save his life, and as undeserving as it could be. People already had lots of esteem for the Intercontinental title, and it's like basically said every other champion but you deserve it. You don't. Imagine that guy holding it longer than everybody else and always finding a way to weasel out of a championship match. Always either losing by DQ, by count, losing on title matches. And when he won, it was under chicanery. So, whether it was against Brutus Beefcake, Jim Duggan, Jake Roberts, even Macho Man couldn't regain the title. But now Brutus Beefcake was injured. He was so confident, I don't care who it is. I'm going to face anybody. Bring me anybody you want. I don't care who it is. And out came the Ultimate Warrior. I really like Bill Goldberg as a wrestler, and about say it, Bill Goldberg to me was what Bill Goldberg was to the late 90s, the Ultimate Warriors were for the late 80s, early 90s. Fact, I will not basically say that either of them were great wrestlers. They weren't. But the revisionist story that we got today about both of them suck, whatever, they couldn't do business. Yeah, they couldn't do business. Right. But Speedball Mike Bailey would? Ricochet would? Like, give me a break. These guys at least sold a lot of merchandise. You can say what you want about Goldberg now, but Goldberg's streak, I mean, in 1998 was the second biggest baby faced in all of wrestling. It was only behind Stone Cold. Rock wasn't a baby face then. So keep that in mind. Like, put that in your pipe and put that in your pipe and smoke it. And the Ultimate Warrior was very over. You're right. Neither of them were very fine, refined wrestlers. But neither of them needed to be. The only thing, yeah, Goldberg should have been more careful as a wrestler. But even then, I'm not gonna blame him for Bret Hart retiring. Basically, Goldberg, yeah, hit him by mistake there, but Bret Hart continued wrestling and wrestling. The hardcore match against Terry Funk, against Kevin Nash, hurt his head by basically when he missed a spot against Terry Funk himself and against Kevin Nash. So basically, I'm not blaming them. If anybody's going to be blamed for Bret Hart's career ending early, blame Bret Hart. Goldberg did not help. I'll grant you this, but Bret is to blame there. But again, that's a rant for another day. Now, the Ultimate Warrior versus Ravish and Rick Rude was a great match. I like how Ravish and Rick Rude was the only guy in WWE history to pin Ultimate Warrior at a WrestleMania. Nobody else defeated him. Not Hercules, not Hulk Hogan, not Macho Man Randy Savage, not Hunter Hearst Helmsley. Man, you face a lot of people whose names start with an H at WrestleMania. So that's what I would say there. But Ultimate Warrior to Ravish Riku was the first real test for the Ultimate Warrior, the first match that didn't last that long. And again, like I said, people complain about Warrior or Goldberg's match not lasted long. That's their gimmicks. They're supposed to destroy people. I didn't want a match with Honky Tonk Man being 17 minutes and having moonsaults. Made no sense. Warrior destroyed the Ultimate Warrior destroyed the Honky Tonk Man, and it made sense for the story. And it was more impactful that way. You established more people that way. Ultimate Warrior versus Ravishing Recruit. Ravishing Recruit was brought up to be a very good athlete, one who can match the Warrior, but might not be as powerful as the Warrior and a bit more cowardly. He had Bobby in there, his corner. But the whole match was very good. And let us not forget the fact that Ultimate Warrior did a middle rope German suplex to Ravishing Recruit en route to win the title. It was a very good match, knowing the person were there. And again, if you don't like Warrior or Goldberg, fine, but say that they're not good, they weren't good for business is very being very ignorant, very arrogant, and you'd be the reason why you don't have a wrestling business. Just saying. Okay, number 9. We go back to the original SummerSlam, Hogan and Savage versus the Mega Bucks, 1988. Again, I go with this. I'm not gonna pretend the match is great on paper. Technically, it's not. Andre was limited. Ted DiBiase was very good. I mean, when the part where I liked the best was where Savage and DiBiase were together, and you have Jesse Ventura, the referee. But there's a lot of drama around this. The Mega Power angle was a great angle to continue on. Mega Bucks as well. We also knowing if Jesse was going to be corrupted, and it's like kind of was, but I felt like for a long time also he still showed he was more subjective toward the Mega Bucks. But there's part of me who felt like okay, even if it was subjective, it was still being stern to a certain extent toward them too. It was just sterner toward the Mega Powers. But the entire match was very good. And the ending basically brought it home. That's a great way to finish a SummerSlam. Number 8. Aha. From SummerSlam 1991. You have Mr. Perfect defend the Intercontinental title against Bret the Hitman Hart. Awesome match. You would not know that Mr. Perfect was hurt going in, but he was. He had great injured back. The whole match was excellent, and at the time I thought it was the first time I've seen a singles match, not a Survivor Series match, to see somebody kick out the Perfect Plex. Like I know that Perfect Plex was established as a move that wasn't, I wouldn't say that hurt that much, but it was you can't kick out of that. It cradles you and you're stuck for the pinfall. Roddy Piper got pinned by that. Tito Santana, Jimmy Superfly Snuka, Blue Blazer, aka Owen Hart, were all pinned by that. But Bret refused to be pinned by this, and eventually got in the sharpshooter and won. And it made sense. Like we didn't know the reason why he didn't last. He didn't keep didn't keep the sharpshooter for too long is because Mr. Perfect had an injured back, and that's the reason he could keep it on for long. So it was an awesome match. It's something you should go out of your way to receive because that was a perfect basically storytelling and is a start of Bret Hart as a single star. So that's number 8. Number 7. From 1994, a really underrated match for the women's title, Alundra Blaze defending against Bull Nakano. That match was excellent. That was something I did not expect much because the women's division was not really featured on shows. But then you watch the match, it was excellent from start to finish. And if it wasn't for another match on this card, I'd say it would be the best match of that show. But they deserve more credit. Alundra Blaze deserves a spot in Hall of Fame. Bull Nakano as well, but I feel like Luna Vachon should have a spot on her own, and not just in the legacy win, should have been in individually. I mean, she was always noticeable. She was always like, hey, you know what? You couldn't help but look. It's like you cannot look away when she's on. Okay, she played basically her part well as a dastardly eel. But yeah, she was always a part of those matches. Even if it wasn't wrestling, it was just a manager, you would always have your eyes on her. So that's number 7. Number 6, from 1997, the WWE title match between The Undertaker defending against Bret the Hitman Hart with Shawn Michaels, the special guest referee. This was masterful storytelling. Bret Hart, with the new Hart Foundation as a heel, pro Canada, pro the rest of the world, except the US, against The Undertaker, who just learned several weeks back that his brother Kane is out there. and Shawn Michaels in there because in a match in which case he cannot be biased toward the Undertaker or else he's not allowed to wrestle in the United States ever again. And Bret Hart has to win or he cannot wrestle in the United States again. So there's a lot of high stakes. It's a high stakes match, and neither of them, I felt, neither character was could afford to lose cleanly. And with Shawn Michaels being the wild card there, neither did. It took Bret Hart provoking Shawn into taking a steel chair and slamming the Undertaker right in the cranium for the 1, 2, 3. And Shawn was forced. He didn't want to count it down, but ultimately it led to a heel turn, in which case it was an accident, but eventually led to Shawn being so bitter they became a heel. So, and Bret Hart, in this case, I felt was his last hurrah as a top face. Sorry, last hurrah as a top wrestler in the beat. So, so that would be this. So, okay, that's number 6. Number 5. Now we're top 5 from SummerSlam 2002. The last SummerSlam in the 2000s. That match there is actually no, the second to last SummerSlam in the 2000s. We got Shawn Michaels and Triple H in a street fight. I mean, what can I say? Shawn was off for 4 years, then he comes back and didn't lose a step. In fact, I felt like that match was very crisp. I felt it was also Triple H's best match in a long time too. It was a comeback for not just one for both of them. And yeah, I mean, Shawn was wrestling in jeans, was like usually I would think it's lame, but in that case, it's like we didn't know Shawn was gonna wrestle again. Maybe it was a one-off. And if that match was as good as this, we would have been deprived of Shawn Michaels coming back. If Shawn Michaels was like basically very limited, he wouldn't have come back. But he wasn't. He wrestled like the old time Shawn Michaels, and even better, I think he worked smarter. He wrestled smarter. Some things he didn't need to do, he didn't do. So that's how it felt to me. It's like a very good match, and a match ended with a roll up that needed to be. It wasn't Shawn Michaels winning with super kick. It wasn't It wasn't Triple H winning the pedigree. It was a roll up. So yeah, that was very good. Number 4, the last match of 2000 now that's on the list. It's John Cena defending the WWE title against Daniel Bryan in SummerSlam 2013. Why is it on my list? Because Daniel Bryan got popular really fast, and basically that's a prime example of a damn good wrestler who really got over. He's not just a good wrestler, nobody cares. He's a damn good wrestler with the yes chant and basically charisma that he had and the reputation he garnered after all those many years was super popular and people want him to be W champion. But in storyline, he lost the tag titles along with Kane to their Shield. For a while, he accused himself of being the weak link of the team. And everyone basically, like, despite Kane and Randy Orton basically telling him, like, don't worry, basically this, he was getting paranoid that people were be condescending toward him and he didn't belong there. But he won by submission against Randy Orton. He won against Kane. And he proved his worth by being named the number 1 contender by John Cena. And even then kept winning. Even then, in the weeks beforehand, there was something that foreshadowed what happened later on. Vince McMahon wanted to give a makeover to Daniel Bryan because he didn't look like a main eventer in his opinion. But basically backfired in Vince McMahon's face. Triple H was a special guest referee. Daniel Bryan won clean against John Cena. He was celebrating. Then Randy Orton comes in at the end with a briefcase. Triple H turns, pedigrees him. Randy Orton wins the title by doing nothing. He didn't even do what RKO, we just pinned him afterwards. Best SummerSlam basically payoff ever for this guy. I mean, he won a title and he didn't have to do anything. He won a title, probably got a lot of money for the appearance, and did nothing. But as much as people were angry about Daniel Bryan, looking back years later, it's like that was a right call. I mean, if he had a title reign, basically, and eventually after 3 months, he would be cashed it on, you wouldn't be as angry. Say, okay, cool. The way they done it is basically making sure you're angry at Randy Orton, you're angry at Triple H, and you want Daniel Bryan to win the title. And I know that basically they wanted Batista to win at SummerSlam, but I'm happy that they were forced out their plans because that they wanted Batista to win. I'm happy that the Batista didn't win the world title at WrestleMania because it was Daniel Bryan's win. It was Daniel Bryan's win that he had to have. And it just I just wish they used the Raw Rumble to basically establish it better rather than basically have him being forced to be inserted there. So but anyway, what a great match it was. Now number three. Number three is from a SummerSlam. It's very reviled and rightfully so, but it's SummerSlam 95. It's for the Intercontinental title. It's Shawn Michaels defending against Razor Ramon. I thought, like, I don't know if I would have cared better than the actual IC title match at WrestleMania, but it's very damn close. I thought Shawn Michaels had something to prove because he never beat Razor Ramon until then. And Razor was stuck in a feud with men on a mission, so he needed to prove to people that he's still a very higher up card. Sorry, high up in the mid card. So yeah, it was a very good match, awesome finish. Yeah, that's all I'm gonna say about that. Number two, it's from the year prior for WWE title in a steel cage match. Bret Hart defending against Owen Hart. Owen Hart just won the King of the Ring after Jim Neidhart helped him to win this, and Bret Hart basically won the steel cage match to remove the Neidhart factor to interfere in the match. And meanwhile, British Bulldog is back, he's in the crowd. So the family affair, and the whole match was the closest thing to have, I would say, a non-violent but violent match, because it's kind of violent, but it's not bloody. And you can see the reason why is despite all of this, you can see Bret Hart, like, Bret Hart's character still cares about his brother. He's not going to go too bloody. He just wants to teach his brother a lesson. He's not going over the edge. Just want to show him, hey, you won the match at WrestleMania, but now you have my undivided attention. I had my attention split into two at WrestleMania 10. I don't this time. You're the only one in my crosshairs. And Owen Hart had something to prove in this match. Even the way it ended, I love this because it felt like it could have been anyone's game there. I love those kind of matches, basically, when it could have been anyone's game, but one prevailed. Because you set up for later on, not just for right now. Like, if Bret Hart squashed everybody under the bus to keep the title, it's like you leave no room for a rematch. This you did. Do I believe that Owen's character should have been champion now? If you did, he wouldn't have the best moment of WrestleMania 11 when he won the World Tag Team titles with Yokozuna and celebrating like there's no tomorrow. So no, but I still maintain what I said I would have booked it. I would have Owen Hart win the WWE title in late 97 and 98 as a face. Owen did not need a 10 months title reign. He could have been just 1 month, but I felt like he deserved it. But in this match was perfectly booked. It would be my favorite SummerSlam match ever if it wasn't for number one for the Intercontinental title, Bret Hart defending in the main event of SummerSlam 1992 against the British Bulldog. And yes, knowing the story behind the match or basically the circumstance of outside the match with the British Bulldog sometimes make it a bit hilarious, but it's also it makes Bret Hart's job or basically Bret Hart's task very, very admirable that he was able to pull this off. It's an awesome match. The only time the WB main evented a Big Four show with the Intercontinental title. So to me, it's the best and most important Intercontinental title match ever. And I keep teasing my brother about this that, yeah, Bret lost, but Bret didn't lose that finisher. And you can tell the power slam, he couldn't lock on the sharpshooter. It's like only not even like 10 seconds, which basically protects the hold. And the finish was great. I love the finish. Again, when I said that I like it could have been anybody's game, that's one great finish like this. Yeah, Bulldog won, but it's like a chess match, in which case all you did is one wrong move and you lost. It's not like 17 wrong moves. He did just one wrong move, and the better man won that night. Both of you are equally basically equally skilled. It's just one move that you, and even in Summers, in your house, seasons beating with the British Bulldog, Bret Hart, again, Bret Hart won the match, but he won with a match score cradle, again, after a wrong move for the Bulldog. That's what I like about this. It's like it didn't destroy the Bulldog, it didn't destroy Bret Hart there. It made both across as they made a wrong move and lost. And now I look at the list, and I'm gonna, beside talking about those matches, I realize Bret Hart is Mr. SummerSlam, but not just because of his great streak of great matches. He's the only guy in WWE history to win the original Triple Crown, original Triple Crown titles at SummerSlam. He won the World Tag Team titles at SummerSlam 1990. He won the IC title at SummerSlam 91, and he won the WWE title at SummerSlam 97. He's the only one who's done this. The closest thing we have is Seth Rollins. And even then, he didn't win the WWE title at SummerSlam. He won the World title at this year's SummerSlam. He won the Universal title at SummerSlam 2019, the IC title at SummerSlam 2018, the tag titles at SummerSlam 2017, and the US title at SummerSlam 2015. You could say he's the guy who wins the most title, though, at SummerSlam is Seth Rollins, but the guy who won the original Triple Crown at SummerSlam is still Bret Hart. So, currently, Mr. SummerSlam is Bret Hart, but Seth Rollins might be in the mix there. So, just wanted to say that. And also, I know you can't say that anymore, but let's be honest, Hulk Hogan is the guy who's undefeated at SummerSlam. I've noticed that he's what, 6-0? No, I don't recall anybody else had that big of a SummerSlam streak to date. So, just one of those records about SummerSlam. So let me know what you think. I know I've been running on too long, so let me know what you think. And I'm coming back with another video sometime today. On that note, have a great day, guys. Bye.